What are P and Q? P is 5 and Q is 2. Because this says negative P. So if I put this into the equation, it's going to be negative 5, correct? And what does negative 5 become? Positive 5. So I've got y equals ax plus 5, and the 2 is just positive, so it's plus 2. Everybody cool? Everybody got me to there? Yeah. Okay, what's missing? We got to check A. So we have to check if there's been a stretch, yes? How do we check for stretch? If there's no number there, it would be a 1, right? And that means I would go over 1 and up 1, yes? But I don't go over 1 and up 1, do I? I go over 1 and down 1. So I know that y must at least be negative, right? Or a must be negative, right? Now let's check. Over 1, down 1. Well, that looks like it might be okay, right? Over 2, down how far? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That look okay? It's not a great graph, but is it? Are we happy with that? I am. So it's negative 1. Would we write 1? No. X plus 5 squared plus 2. Is everybody cool? Great. You do it with the next one because it's exactly the same. I'm going to go check on my yucca balls. I got to go check if my balls are hot. What? How isn't it school appropriate? I'm cooking balls of bread. I have to check if they're hot. What are you thinking about, Burke? That's gross. Burke? That's disgusting. My balls are puffing up, but they're not ready yet. Did you see that? Knocked it off and caught it. Because I'm old, fat, and a ninja. Oh, and short. I forgot short. Short, fat, proud of that. All right. Are we good here? What color should we use? Pink? All right. So, y equals ax minus p squared plus q. What's my vertex? It looks to me like it's 1 and minus 4, yeah? So y equals, I'm going to leave the a space blank. I'm not going to write a and then write a. Blank. X what? Minus 1 squared. Then what? Minus 4. Well done. Now let's check the stretch. Over 1 up how far? When I go over 1 all the way to here, I'm up. It looks like I've gone up 1, 2, doesn't it? Is everybody happy with that? So let's check. If I went over 2 to here, I should be up at 8 or 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty darn close, yeah? So it looks to me like it's a double stretch. Everyone cool? Which part, Anna? The stretching part? That's still bugging you? Okay. If this was a normal parabola, from the vertex, I would go over 1 and up 1, right? Right? So here is 1. That's over 1. Agreed? So I went this way, 1. And then I should, if it was normal, I should go up 1, correct? But I go up to here. Agreed? Now look. There is negative 4. There is negative 3. There is negative 2. See how I went up 2 spots? So instead of going up 1, which is what I should have done, I went up double that. So I put 2. What if I'd gone up 3 spots? What would be here? 3. What if I'd gone up 8 spots? What would be here? 8. Everybody good? What if I'd only gone up half a spot? Then this would be 1/2. Is everybody good? Once, twice, thrice? Okay. Now, what is different in C? No graph. I can't count the stretch, can I? I cannot count this. But I have some information here that will help me, don't I? What do I have? I've got the Q and... Damn it. I've got the P and the Q, don't I? So we can write out most of this equation, can't we? So let's write it out. Y equals A x what? Plus 3 squared plus 6. Agreed? Everyone's happy with that, right? How are we going to find A when we can't count? What letter does that negative 1 represent? X. What letters does that 1 represent? Y. What do you see right there? X. What do you see right there? Y. What can I put there? What can I put there? Plus 1. And if I have all these numbers filled in, does that find me A? Yeah, let's do that. So instead of Y, I'm writing 1. It's in brackets just to show you that I've substituted in. Everybody okay with that? Equals A negative 1 plus 3 squared plus 6. All right. What's negative 1 plus 3? 2. What's 2 squared? 4. So that's 4A plus 6. Right? Right? Now what? 6 moves over here, so it's now negative 5 equals 4A, correct? What does A equal? I'm going to bring this up here where I have some room. Negative 5/4 equals A. What letter do you see there? A. What do I write there? Minus 5/4. So the answer is Y equals negative 5/4 x plus 3 squared plus 6. Everybody cool? Try the next one on your own. Why is this one slightly trickier? It's a y-intercept. But the y-intercept is just what?
2. So the x-intercept is 0.
It's just 0, 2, right? Mm-hmm. So does that give me an x and a y?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, yeah? Mm-hmm. So work it. Let's go. Now, easy peasy, right? Everyone's cool? Now, if I asked you to graph this, this would be a giant pain in the ass, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because 7/9. If I go over 1, I got to go up 7/9 of 1. Blech. How far would I have to go over before I could do a good one? If I went over 3, I should go up 9, shouldn't I? Well, 7/9 of 9 is what? 7. So if I went over 3, I could go up 7. Everybody good? All right. You guys try E. Start with what you know, as always. What makes this yucky?
The x-intercept has 2.
They're x-intercepts. Does it matter? Does it matter that I've given you 2 of them? Yes or no? Of course not. Since it's an x-intercept, do I have an x or a y value here? X value of 2 or what? 8. Where can I put that over here? In for x. What goes in for y then? 0. So work it through. 0. And I'm done, right? Am I done? What if I used 8? Would it still work? What's 8 minus 5? So I'd still have 9a, wouldn't I? Everybody cool? So my equation is right here already, y, but there's no a value. Can everybody do this in this form from points? So far. Yeah? All right. Try F. What, Mr. Myers? Have you ever taught us how to read that? I don't think you have, except, of course, I have. So if you don't remember, where do you have to go? Back 2 pages and check it. Yeah. How to do this guy? Why is this highlighted in green? What does it give me? Damaris. It gives me the vertex. What is it? Oh, crap. The vertex is 5, 8. It's a minimum value. What does that mean? It is this kind of parabola, right? If I was the kind of teacher that told little stories about math, I would call this a happy parabola, because that's what my grade 11 teacher called it. When you go to university, do not call parabolas that open positively happy. They will laugh at you. Because a parabola cannot be happy. It is just a line. It is neither happy nor sad. But if you leave here, you might have a teacher that calls it a happy parabola. Andrew, did your teacher call them happy parabolas? Good. What? All right, so we know it's a happy parabola, so we know A is what? Positive or negative? Positive. So y equals ax what? Minus 5 squared plus 8. Now, what goes in? What are the points I can put in here? It goes to the origin, which is what coordinates? No. 2, 0. Oh, I thought you said 2, 0. It's like, dude. 0, 0, right? So, 0 equals a. X minus 5 squared is... Can I just write 25a now? Are we cool with that? Everybody is with me enough that I can just go 25a plus 8 now? Yeah? Okay. So negative 8 equals 25a. A equals negative 8 25ths. Wait a minute. How can that be? How can 8 be negative? If it's got a minimum value, how can 8 be negative? He waited patiently. Yeah. When I moved that 8 over, it became negative, right? Divide by 25. So all this is cool, right? So what has happened here? Have we done our math correctly? Yeah. So what is the only explanation for this? We've done our math right? We know this graph has to go through 8, has to go through 5, 8, and we know it's a minimum, so it has to go that way, yes? So what's wrong with this drawing? Or what's wrong with this question? It should say maximum, shouldn't it? Or it couldn't go through the origin, could it? Does everybody understand? Okay, now, why would I leave this in? Because it was originally a mistake, right? When I typed this out, I made an error. Why would I leave it in? What should you believe? You're doing a question in the textbook. You flip to the back of the book. You've done the whole question right. Back of the book has a different answer. What should you believe? You know you've done your math right. What should you believe? Your math. Do you know you did this math right? So what should you believe?
Your math.
Your math. That's why I left this in here. Every year I come back to it, and every year I say, oh yeah, crap, I got to fix that. And every year I say, I'm not fixing it. Because I want you to see that this was correct. We did our math right. I screwed up when I typed it. Does everyone understand? Have faith in your math. This should say has a maximum value of 8 there. So the line goes this way. Everybody understand? Because as we go through this year, if you flip through your book, you'll see textbook pages with answers in them. Right? There's typos. Please trust yourself. All right? Okay, you guys try G. Where's the trick here? I've got an X and a Y. There's my X and a Y. Axis of symmetry. I know something about the axis of symmetry and what that means. And I know something about what a range means. Right? Look back 2 pages, see if you can figure it out. Answer for me yet?
Yep.
What color?
Green.
Light green or dark green?
Dark green.
Dark green it is. Y equals AX. What?
2i 8.
X plus 8 squared and plus 4. Now, since y's have to be less than 4, is it a positive or a negative parabola? It's a negative parabola, so A must be negative, yeah? Okay. So what goes in where? Y equals A. I'm not going to do that. X is 2. What's 2 plus 8?
10.
You sure?
10.
9, 10. Okay. And 10 squared is?
100.
100. 100A plus 4. Move that over. Negative 4 100ths equals A, yeah?
Yeah.
So now we can fill it in. Y equals negative. Now, could I write negative 0.04 if I wanted to? Could I? It's the same thing, right? In physics, you would be more likely to use the decimal. Okay? In math class, I like you to keep to fractions.
Mr. Mose, I think it's 3 over 100. Negative 3.
Oh, I forgot the 1. Yep, negative 3. Forgot that 1 for y. Thank you. Thanks, Ayaka. X plus 8 squared plus 4. And it would graph like that. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, do we have everything we need here?
Yep.
What is the point we are going to use? What is our x and y value?
Negative 1 and negative 5.
0, negative 5. What's our vertex?
Negative 1 and negative 3.
Negative 1, negative 3. It's a maximum value, so is it negative or positive?
Negative.
Negative. So that means A is what?
Negative.
A equals a negative number. Actually, I'll write it this way. A is less than 0. Right? Go. You got it already, Louis?
Yeah, me too.
Whoo! You keeners. Fine. Y equals A x plus 1 squared minus 3. Negative 5 equals 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 squared is A minus 3. Negative 2 equals A. Does that work all the way?
Yeah.
That works. We know A has to be negative. Negative y equals negative 2. X plus 1 squared minus 3. Is everybody good? Can everybody graph a parabola from this form? And can everybody find this form from a parabola? Everybody's cool? It's very similar to grade 10, right? When we did with straight lines. Right? We all remember that? Y equals mx plus b. Right? It's very similar. Yeah? We've got a form. We can fill it in with x's and y's. Everyone's good? Okay. What time is it? 9 o'clock? Sweet. Let's turn the page over. Please notice we are on our second of 2 forms. Our first form was vertex form, yes? Right? And we're comfy with vertex form, yeah? So, look at that. Is that in vertex form? No, it's not, is it? It's not in vertex form at all, as a matter of fact. There's no brackets. It's yucky, yeah? Now, what can we do? What have we done in the past when we've seen something that looks like this? We've had 2 things we could try. We could factor it, or quadratic formula, or complete the square, yes? All right, now, when we complete the square, we end up factoring, don't we? And when we complete the square, if you look back far enough, let's find a completing the square question. That looks like quadratic. Oh, there's a complete the square question. When you finish the quadratic formula, or when you finish completing the square, doesn't that look a lot like x plus 2 squared minus 7 equals y? Doesn't it? X plus 2 squared, bring the 7 over and leave a y there, right? Doesn't that look like vertex form? Looks pretty similar to vertex form to me. So here we have standard form. We can't tell anything about it, can we? But if I complete the square, I get vertex form. Kind of. Right? So let's do that. Y equals x squared minus 6x plus 4, yeah? I left this big blank here. Why? What am I going to write in right there? I'm going to write 9, aren't I? Because that's divided by 2, 6 divided by 2 squared equals 9, right? Everyone agree? What did I add right there that wasn't over here? 9. So now this side is y plus 9 equals x minus 3 squared plus 4, correct? Right? Am I in vertex form yet? Almost. What needs to move? Just the 9. And what will happen to it when it comes over here? It'll be negative 9. So I will get y equals x minus 3 squared minus 5. Yes? And now, all of you just told me, well, oh yeah, we got this, Mr. Myers. You should be able to graph that in about 5 seconds, right? Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Everybody's got it graphed, right? Right? Plus 3, 1, 2, 3. Minus 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any stretch? Positive or negative? So over 1, up 1. Over 2, up 4. And swoo. Ya. Ya. Everybody cool? Sweet. How can we deal with that one? I would complete the square. But this one's slightly different. I would do a different thing here. Can anybody take a guess at what we would do there because it looks different? What makes it different? There's a 2 out front, yeah? Can I factor that 2 out right now? No, I can't. But what if I do this? Y minus 11 equals 2x squared plus 8x. Now can I do some factoring? I can, can't I? Y minus 11 equals 2x squared plus 4x. What would go right here? Four. Correct? Now what did I add to the right-hand side of the equation? 8. So what do I need to add to this side of the equation? 8. Everyone agree? So y minus 11 plus 8 equals 2x plus 2 squared, correct? Everyone agree? Y minus 3 equals 2x plus 2 squared. Y equals 2x plus 2 squared plus 3. Could I graph that now? Where would it go? Where do I go from here for my vertex? Negative 2, and then up or down? Up. And is this a positive or a negative parabola? Positive, and it's going to be regular, skinny, or wide? Okay, everybody agrees it's not going to be regular. Some people are saying wide, some people are saying skinny. What makes it fat? Fractions. Because that stretches, that shrinks the up and down. So it must be taller and skinnier. And I'm happy if you show me that it's tall and skinny. I don't need you to label points if you've done all this. Is everybody good? Yeah? Everyone's cool? Okay. So now we can put in some of the stuff that we can figure out about this. Yes? 1. I can complete the square for vertex form. That's one thing I can do, correct? There's a second thing this tells us. What would happen to this term if x was 0? What would this be? This would be 0, correct? What would happen to this term if x was 0? It would be 0. And that would leave us with y equals c, correct? Well, isn't y equals c when x is 0? Isn't that the y-intercept? So this standard form also, the y-intercept is c. So as soon as you see the graph, you know where that line is going to cross the y-intercept. So if you do a bunch of work, like this one, you knew it had to cross the y-intercept at 11, yeah? So once you do you know that it's going to have to go through that line. So if you do a bunch of work and you don't get it going through there, what do you know? You've done something wrong, right? And there is one other thing about this that is a real gift. And we're running out of time, so I'm not going to tell you today why it works. I'm just going to give you this mathematical gift. All right? And it is this. The vertex x coordinate. The vertex x coordinate is always, and I'm going to write this nice and big in a different color, b negative over 2a. So if you're in doubt, you can always get the x coordinate this way. Let's do that just once. We had 2x squared plus 8x plus 11, yeah? Everyone agree? And we did a whole bunch of complete the square to graph it, right? Check this out. There's my a, right? There's my b, right? So the vertex x coordinate is negative b over 2a. And of course you recognize that from where? That's part of the quadratic formula, right? So that's a hint as to where this comes from, but we're running out of time, so I just want to show you where it comes from. So that would be negative 8 over 2 times 2, correct? Which would be negative 4. Everyone agree? Everybody okay? So the vertex x value would have been not negative 4, negative 2, right? When we did all the work, was the vertex x value negative 2? Yeah. Now once we know that, that is of course an x value that can go back into the equation. Everybody good? So this is a real help, especially if you're not very good at completing the square. Everybody okay? Now, of course, if you didn't bother to write this down, turn the page over, what happens? There, it's right there. Now, of course, please notice what I have called it in your notes, though. It's the equation of the axis of symmetry, yes? Because that's the x value of the vertex. Everybody cool? All right, your homework for the whole weekend is to do page 103... 103 to 105. Now, listen. When I say sketch, all I really want to see, say your vertex is 3, 6. Just put it out here, label the vertex, and draw it. That is all I need to see. Okay? If it's got like a really high A value, then show me it to be a really skinny parabola. If it's got a very small a value, like a fraction, then show me a big wide parabola. If you really want to be cool, you could recognize that that's the y-intercept, and you could put that on there and then draw it through the vertex. Everybody okay? All right. And I'm going to say 6, 7, 8, 9, 14. I want you to do at least, and I know that as soon as I say at least, that's all anyone's going to do. You got to do at least 8 of them. So these 4 and 8 of these. Now, I don't care what method you use. If you want to do complete the square, complete the square. If you want to use this right here, you can use that too. I don't care. Everybody good? Even though this last page says complete the square, I don't care. Use whichever one you want. Okay? Some of you, usually in the past, my students have not been so hot at completing the square. So as soon as they saw that Vx equals negative b over 2a, they never completed the square again, even though it can be useful. So I'm going to leave it up to you to choose what works for you. All right? And if you would like to try a ball, you can go grab one. There's 27 of them. Please only take one. And the only people that are allowed to give me their opinion is anybody who is not Brazilian. Because the Brazilian people all know what these are supposed to taste like. Good hands, Anna! How are they, Lucas? Yeah! Oh, Damaris! Boo!